So the Las Vegas market did something in June that it has not done in almost 2 years. Stick around to the end of the video to find out. Hey everyone, it's Russell Haver with the Russell Haver Group at eXp Realty, and it has been a crazy 2 years we've had, right? Or a little longer. So what's interesting is for the first time in 2 years in the Las Vegas market in June, prices went down. I know, crazy, stop, the world's sky's falling, right? But what happened was the median home value went from $482,000 for a single family home down to $480,000. So it didn't like drop to $400,000, right? So we saw pending sales go down 29% year over year, right? And then we saw inventory for single family homes go up from 1.3 months last month to 2.1 months, right? So we're starting to see a little bit of a trend, right? But what we're seeing is kind of a return to normalcy. Like 2.1 months of single family homes is pretty good, right? 6 months is a balanced market. So, but what we are seeing is we're seeing a trend of, since the Fed meeting last month and how they rose interest rates, 75 basis points, 0.75%, right? Buyer demand kind of just, we had the fatigue finally with it. So we saw then the single family market on there. And then we saw in the condo townhome market, something similar. Median home value went from 285 down to 280. And from the actual pending sale standpoint, it was kind of something similar actually on it. It went from the previous month, it was negative 4.8%. pending sales to 21.7. And then we saw the same thing, inventory rise up from 1.1 months to 1.8. So what does all this mean, right? It's just numbers jumbling around, right? So what it means is, as a buyer, you're gonna have more options now, which is fantastic. Now, people talk about interest rates going up, right? But one of the things to think about too is, one, you're not going to be, as a buyer for the most part, right, having to pay what people were doing for the last 18 months, 2 years, paying ridiculous over, right? I'm going to bid 50,000 over, I'm going to bid 100,000 over, right? Depending on the price point. So you're not going to have that or even have it as much, right? So that's good news right there. Two, the other thing to think about too, buying a home, they're, using the phrase of marry the home, rent the rate, right? So what does that mean is, you're going to have more options now as a buyer, right? So you can get the home that you want. And then when interest rates come down eventually, because, they're not going to go up forever, you could just refinance at a lower rate on it, right? So that's something to think about as a buyer. And if you're a renter, you've seen rents keep going up, right? It's crazy. So it's something really to look at on the aspect as a buyer. Is good news, you have options now, right? And you're not going to have to grossly overbid. What does this mean for sellers, right? What this means sellers is you're going to have more competition, okay? 6 months may be a balanced market, but we haven't seen 6 months of inventory since 2007, 8, right? So you're going to have more competition. And one of the things that's important is pricing your home correct from the get-go. I'm sure you're all seeing lots of price reductions and people falling out of contract and all these different things, right? The biggest thing is to make sure that you are pricing it properly from the get-go, okay? So it's something where you're going to see, as the market's shifting, you're going to see a lot of realtors flood out of the market, right? You're probably going to see, like last time in 2008, more than 50% came out of the market, right? Because you can't just put a home on the market, slap any price on it, or just use anyone to help you buy a home, because a lot of these things can cost you, depending on your price point, thousands, if not tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands, depending on how high up your price point is, right? So more than ever, who you work with matters. So I hope you found this video helpful. It's one of those things to focus on. Economists are projecting still prices to be steady, potentially maybe going up a little bit, right? But in our market, we saw a $2,000 decrease. So that's a good news that it wasn't like it dropped $50,000, $60,000, right? So that's good. So like I said, I hope you found this video useful. If you have any questions, whether it's buying, selling, if you have, 1031 exchanges, feel free to give us a call, 702-343-6388, or shoot us an email, russ@haverproperties.com. Hope everyone enjoyed this. Have yourself a great day. Take care.